Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about TikTok because if TikTok gets banned, there are no more safe spaces for anybody online, for certain communities.
That's what they're leading with, yes.
That's what they're leading with. You have to keep TikTok as is, because if you get rid of TikTok, all these marginalized individuals will not have a place to talk.
They won't be the new Tumblr.
It won't be the new Tumblr. Well, it has.
How else are they going to tell your kids about the wonderful world of whatever?
The wonderful world of whatever?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's whatever because it depends on the day, you know.
Depends on the day. There are a lot of weird content creators, I'm using air quotes here, on TikTok. And yeah, the algorithm is highly addictive. And it basically, if you watch one video on whatever it is, your kids watch one video on whatever it is, next thing you know, that's all they're seeing.
Right. Now, I will say, to be fair, I think there's a lot of good content on TikTok. I think there's a lot of helpful content on there. I think that, when they're talking about some of the people, with this teaching sign language and things like that, I think that there's a lot of really great things on TikTok. Yeah. I think that it's a really good tool for businesses on TikTok. But I don't think that everything on TikTok is great.
No, TikTok, I think, has accelerated the dumbification of and indoctrination of our youths, more so than Tumblr, more so than Twitter, I think, because the barrier to entry is so low. You basically just need a cell phone, and anybody can put their thoughts on TikTok and go viral, whether or not they should or be allowed to or whatever. But I think it is kind of dangerous that the government can just step in and say, yep, we're going to yeet this social media platform because...
That's it. I think that's a very dangerous precedent, because if they can do it to them, what other platforms can they do it to? Basically, I want to control your platform for an election year.
Yeah.
I can just turn around and force a sale or whatever. And that's a little concerning, because they're going to go to Twitter next. The X next. That's what they're going to do. That's
what people think they're laying the groundwork for, because a lot of journalists and a lot of left-wingers are very, very ass mad that Elon Musk bought Twitter. That was ground zero for a lot of this insanity before TikTok. And they're not going to give it up very easily. No. And I think they're seeing, they're always talking about the numbers on their blogs and, websites going down. And, Twitter was kind of the glue that held that stuff together. And now it's just all spiraling out of control, and they're losing money and, whatever. But let's talk about this, because China says they're not going to sell it. They refuse to sell it. So,
well, it's weird that you can tell our country they have to sell their stuff.
It is very weird. Again, I don't agree with the CCP on a great number of things, but
I think there's a great number of things on TikTok that's not allowed to be aired, in China and other places.
That has come up. People said that the Chinese version of TikTok does not promote, their algorithm does not promote some of the wackier ideas that American TikTok does. So yeah, I have to wonder, beyond the spyware concerns, the security concerns, if it isn't like a psyop or something, like, hey, we'll just make your kids hella weird, and then in a generation or two we'll just walk right in, take over.
Well, TikTok definitely is ground zero for a lot of certain things that are going on. Anyway,
yes.
Before we get into it any further,
please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. Get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
So I guess first we're going to go back to where TikTok is at right now, for those of you who don't know, and this isn't going to sit very well with a lot of people on the left. Your beloved President Biden did sign that TikTok has to be sold within the next, 9 to 12 months to a U.S. company.
And again, I understand the concerns, but I do think this is very far-reaching. I think it's going to set a precedent that it's a very dangerous precedent.
Yeah. And it was kind of a rider. It was snuck into an aid package.
Oh, that's what they always do.
That's what they always do.
Shocker. And you guys just learned this now?
It's like, we're going to dump billions of dollars into foreign aid, and also we're going to ban TikTok. But mostly we're going to talk about foreign aid, and everybody's talking about TikTok. They're not even talking about all the money going overseas.
I know. That's, yeah. Unless that was the point. Everybody's upset about TikTok, so they can just sneak whatever in. Like, oh, look, UFOs suddenly appeared. Wonder what they're voting for.
Yeah. So ByteDance is the parent company of TikTok. That's the Chinese parent company. It says it has no intention of selling the business after the U.S. passed a law to force it to sell the hugely popular video app or be banned in America. Now, they're talking if they sell it, if they would sell it, and they're saying they're not going to. But there were two scenarios. The first scenario was they sell the whole thing, but they said that it's probably valued at $100 billion, and not many people could afford that. And I think Elon Musk is broke now after.
Well, not just that.
They're
They're going to face antitrust issues.
Yeah.
Like a lot of
Well,
the people who own the social media places aren't going to be able to buy it because it'll hit antitrust.
They said the only places that probably could afford it to buy the whole thing would be Meta or Apple, and both of them would face antitrust issues. And beyond that, it'd be pointless for Meta because they already have Instagram, and it's basically the same thing with Reels. But they said the other scenario is they would sell the app, but they wouldn't sell the algorithm. They're like, well, what's the point? You basically just have a bunch of videos just parked on this app, and what do you do with it?
Well, there's a good chance to fix the algorithm.
Well, that's it.
But depending on who gets hold of it, though.
Yeah, because a lot of people are looking at the algorithm. They're like, this is why so many people are crazy on TikTok, because it keeps pushing this stuff.
We're seeing it with Facebook and these different lawsuits from different states, like about the stuff they're pushing and about they're being addictive to kids. And TikTok, I would argue, is far more addicted to kids than Facebook.
Yeah.
If they're going to go after some social media platforms over how addictive it is and because of their algorithms, I mean, what are they going to do with this if they get it without an algorithm? Like, how are they going to change it? Because it's going to be the same thing again.
Yeah.
So they're not going to target kids now? Because, I mean, it definitely targets kids now. But,
Yeah, but it's so weird because a lot of people are talking about, they're like, oh, my God, what are all these content creators going to do? And TikTok is like the worst deal ever for content creators. I never
understood this.
They don't give you ad revenue sharing. They have this big pool of money, and they just kind of randomly disperse money as they feel like it. And
I never understood why people are like so happy about doing it. It's like you don't make money.
No, they're making record profits. Like TikTok is making all kinds of money.
No, where the money is though, the money is sales, because if these influencers tell kids to buy shit, they buy it. Like, we've had to have beauty and makeup companies put out, statements telling parents not to buy products for their young kids because they were seeing influencers use it and they wanted products that would actually could cause them harm because they weren't, the right age to be using it because influencers. I know for a fact, our kids have done this where they have seen something on it and went and right out and bought it. TikTok is a huge sales driver.
Oh yeah.
I mean, no question. If you want to sell stuff, you want something that you get it viral, you'll sell out. It's just, I mean, that's how it is. And TikTok, I can see TikTok being used nefariously for that because that's pretty much where it's getting money from.
Well, I said with YouTube, they had record ad sales, I guess, last quarter, but they said a lot of the ad sales were driven by Asian Pacific companies. I'm like, Temu.
Yeah.
You mean Temu? Because every time I go on to YouTube, especially on the mobile version of YouTube, it's all Temu ads. That's all I see. So, if Temu decides they're not going to spend anymore, they ban Temu or something. That'll be the next thing. They're going to ban Temu. Then that's it for YouTube too. But
I'll go back there for a second. Yeah, they keep saying, "Oh no, the Chinese government has no control over ByteDance." Bullshit. If it's out of China, the Chinese government has control of it.
Yeah,
that's just the way it is. If it's in China, other companies weren't allowed to work in China unless they agreed to give the information to the Chinese government. So. There's no way in hell the CCP has no control or no access to this information that's coming out of China. It would be very unlikely. Continue.
I would actually be more concerned, I think, about the situation with Disney overseas because they actually have CCP members.
They did
working in the offices at Shanghai Disneyland, and
they have their little plaques out with the CCP on it.
Yeah, and they were kind of grilling them on that, and then it just kind of disappeared. But now this is coming up again. Again, election year, but I'm like, this is the opposite of how you get elected, Joe Biden. Given
well, this and the other issue going on, those two things are not boding well for him.
No. So this time about how marginalized people. There are multiple articles about this I've seen in the last.
That's our new thing. It's marginalized people are going to suffer.
Marginalized people are going to suffer.
Minorities, you bigots.
This is a Fast Company last month. TikTok creators, especially those from marginalized groups, say a ban would hurt them financially.
How is it going to hurt them financially, unless you're selling shit. It's not going to hurt you financially. You don't make much money on TikTok. I mean, unless you're getting brand deals to sell shit.
Yeah. So they're talking about how, and look, I'm not saying that it can't transform your life. I mean, I know there are some TikTokers that are doing very, very well, but it's also not the only video platform out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people made the transition when they shut Vine down. A lot of people made the transition from Vine to YouTube or something else.
TikTok's Vine. I'm sorry.
It's basically
Vine.
Yeah. So this is a guy who lives in Philly. He said TikTok has transformed his life, allowing him to live a dream, provide for his family, and spend the first 3 months of his newborn son's life at home. That's actually cool. I mean, that's cool. His customer service job only offered paternity leave equivalent to, wait.
You get paternity leave?
What the hell? His customer service job only offered paternity leave equivalent to 3 weeks off with 2 weeks paid?
You get paternity leave? How?
I was management. I didn't get paternity leave. I got like a day. And
Moms barely get maternity leave.
Damn, dude. I'm just saying, like, I think you actually had it better than you think you had it. I was management at a company and I did not get paternity leave. My grandfather died, who was like my dad. I only got 1 day off.
Yeah, because he was actually your legal guardian because he wasn't your dad, even though he was your dad.
Yeah, he was basically my dad.
They wouldn't let you. And I know when I had our daughter, with both of our kids, I had issues where I didn't stop bleeding. It was not good. Anyway,
I only think I had to take a day off because I didn't have the baby.
You stayed overnight or something. You weren't even allowed.
Yeah, I had to go work the next day.
And I had to be at the hospital by myself because my parents were there watching Squid King because he was really little. And I was at the hospital and I wasn't even allowed to be moved for the longest time because they were afraid I'd start to bleed again. And I just laid there by myself for a long time because no one could be there because you couldn't be there. My parents had our son and they weren't letting him in right away because he was too little. Had to wait for visiting hours and all this other stuff because they wouldn't give him time off. But you got 3 weeks off of paternity leave. Wow, you're lucky.
Wow. Okay, but anyway, he said, I don't take for granted a day on this app because it's been so shocking. In reality, TikTok has been the driver of American social media for the last 4 years. I would agree with that. It's probably the biggest thing there. Something will step into that place if TikTok vanishes tomorrow. Well, yeah, because see also Vine. That was the biggest thing. See also Snapchat. Does anybody even use Snap anymore?
I think they still do, yeah. They're not wrong. Something else will step in. But then you're going to have to start all over again for a lot of people.
Yep. So they're talking about how, again, people during the pandemic.
They tripled their income. I don't know how they're making all this money unless it's like brand deals or something.
I think it's brand deals. Yeah, because you're not making money. They're not paying you much. Like that's one of the biggest problems I have with it as a content creator. And we occasionally would post over there, but like they don't give you an ad share like YouTube does. It's whatever they feel like giving you based on views.
Yeah, here. Social media influencers is almost be looked at as the new print and the new form of radio or TV advertising. It's going to bring your dollar much further than it's in traditional marketing because people are pimping shit and it does sell. Like, it's worth spending the money there because people are going to buy your shit.
Yeah, so this is where we get into representation. Basically, if you're going to find somebody that looks like you got to go to TikTok or Instagram or whatever. This is somebody who's into the paranormal.
You're right. There isn't a whole lot of black representation in the field. I mean, we have the Ghost Brothers and stuff.
I love the Ghost Brothers.
I do too. I love them. They're funny.
They're really awesome. But no, there actually isn't. I will agree. I will
agree with you on that too. Yes, I'll give you that for sure.
Yeah, thinks that banning TikTok sets a dangerous precedent about how much power our highest levels of government can wield.
I agree with you there too.
The app is a financial and social safety net. This person said that they started using it during the pandemic to connect with other people in the LGBTQ plus community and show support for those who might be having a hard time. I know a lot of people, whether it was YouTube or TikTok, I mean, to be fair, they actually did connect with people on social media.
Here's another person, same thing. He's like, you're the same person. He's like, he wanted to stop people from committing suicide. There are a lot of people who had trouble during the pandemic. And, places like, YouTube or TikTok were a way that they could stay connected in some way. And I know a lot of people wrote us and said they were glad we were doing videos because they were very isolated and they felt very, lonely. And it was just a very scary time. And if you're by yourself, it would be very scary. So I can understand that.
They said that This is interesting. If it was YouTube, they wouldn't be this passionate about keeping it, right? The part that's disturbing to me is I feel like a lot of Americans, TikTok and social media in general as a release valve, it's kind of become a default complaint box.
That's all it is.
So to many people, it feels like they're trying to ban the complaint box instead of dealing with the complaints.
Well, that's not an unfair assessment.
No, but this just came out yesterday, the Washington Post. They found safe spaces on TikTok. A ban could devastate these communities. So they're talking about all these communities and everything's like talk. It's all like, so we have Tourette's talk.
I know there's a lot. There actually, I can tell you, is a lot of channels like with Tourette stuff on TikTok because our kids watch it. They tell me about it, and they know all kinds of stuff about different disabilities and stuff from watching these channels on TikTok.
Deaf talk. I know our daughter's actually learning sign language right now.
She's
taking ASL. She's in a club at school.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, so she's actually good. She tries to sign to me, and I'm like, I don't know what you're saying, but thank you. We've got grief talk for people who are grieving. TikTok.
I think these kind of channels are very helpful.
But they have this on YouTube. They have this on Facebook.
Right. I'm just saying. I think a lot of people spend, especially younger people, spend more time on TikTok, which is also a bad thing because for every really good channel like Grief Talk on TikTok, there are all kinds of channels that aren't so good, which is why the libs of TikTok are making fun of them on Twitter. Because some of these channels, you're just like, wait, what?
I think what happens is like people start scrolling topics that interest them, and then it starts to oversect with other stuff. Now, look, the same complaint can be said about YouTube, because I know a couple of years ago, the last election actually, and the one before that, there were complaints that people would be looking for like video game content, and then they would come across, government conspiracy theories and stuff, and that would all get intermingled. So
I know, but I'm just saying, I think there's a lot of really good things on TikTok like this. And can you scroll past? Because it's gonna make me start to cry when I was watching the story, and I'm like, I'm gonna start bawling.
Romance book talk. There we go.
I'm just saying, I think there are a lot of really good things there as well, and I know a lot of people are using it for business and different stuff. I know it's very addictive for kids, which is a problem. I know for all the good things that are being used for, there's a lot of bad things being used for as well. I'd say bad. People say it's just showing kids who they really are, and I think that it's a very tricky, slippery slope. I think that if you ban this, it opens the door to banning other things. And it's concerning because then, there is a point where people are saying who controls the narrative, who gets to control what you can and can't say, or you know what I'm saying? Where you can go, what you can use as your outlet. And I don't disagree with that.
I don't disagree with this though either. I mean, I hate to be that guy, but I've been on the internet pretty much since it was the thing, at least for the general public, not the military. And I've seen a lot of platforms come and go. And This is Catherine. This is a top, or one of the newest comments, I guess. Much ado about nothing. Platforms come and go. Look at MySpace, Facebook. Yeah, Facebook is in massive decline right now. Instagram. The only thing keeping Instagram going is Reels, which I think a lot of people are jumping to because of TikTok possibly shutting down. All have ebbed and waned, and some die. It isn't outside the realm of possibility that people simply move to another platform. Social and media combined are a misnomer. Social media is isolating its very presence. TikTok is a sales tool to get buyers making purchases.
Yes, it's very much so a sales tool.
Yeah, when they're really desperate to belong. Stop fear-mongering. It won't be shut down. It'll be sold. Well, China says it's not going to sell it, but who knows?
But I mean, even if they don't sell it, the problem is that there's, the algorithm doesn't come with it and stuff. It's just it's going to be a rock until they can rebuild it.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like TikTok blew up over the pandemic, especially, but people forget Vine was around for years, and a lot of the people that were big on YouTube, or the people that are big on YouTube now, actually started on Vine, and they made the jump. They made the leap. So it's like, if you're good at making content, you're going to make content wherever. Now, the flip side is, I'm afraid we're going to get this massive influx of people making shorts on YouTube, which has already played havoc with the algorithm for those of us who don't particularly like shorts. And shorts, like TikTok, don't pay creators very well. You can get like millions of views on a short,
but of
and
course,
not make anything.
YouTube wants that because they get to make a lot of money and they get to keep it all.
Yeah, and they get to run those Temu ads. So how long? So this would be interesting. So if the government is going to try to ban any CCP connected business, if Temu is connected to the CCP, would they ban?
Why is it Disney banned?
Why is it Disney banned? Would they ban Temu? Would they be like, yeah, you can't? Because I think I heard that they were trying to, or they're trying to regulate it or something. But like, so if they ban Temu, then there goes YouTube too, because it's just like keeping YouTube afloat at this point. Yeah, need some perspective. Much greater things are at stake here in these communities. Safe spaces if risks posed by TikTok aren't mitigated somehow. Stop calling it a ban. It's a divestiture. You won't lose your till talk.
Okay.
A number of family members and friends and people who have committed suicide because of it might disagree. Wow. TikTok challenges are bringing that up. So yeah, I don't know, guys. I don't know if it's going to get banned or not. I think it'll probably get sold. I think it'll be sold for scrap. I think at this point, a lot of the creators will probably start jumping ship anyway, because that'd be like, yeah, 9 months, I might be without a platform. And again, if you think they can't just shut it down, look at what happened to Vine. Vine was incredibly popular and they still shut it down. It just wasn't paying for itself. So we're going to wrap this up.
Yep.
Please subscribe. We'll talk later.
Bye.